Okay, welcome to my today's class, and I warmly welcome to our online lifelong study circle where we are trying to fill out the gaps which remained unfulfilled, which our school, university, they did not fill that gaps, and we still are living this life. But the purpose of my classes are to make more productive in original and genuine way, and we will be learning and reading key things in form of courses, book studies, and the topics more are relevant with life coaching and spiritual coaching for the personal development. Nowadays, we are studying the consciousness. Is a very important topic for advanced users, advanced believers, advanced people who are eager to know and learn about truth. And the consciousness we are studying from last couple of weeks, and we are in week number 17, sorry. So here we are learning different topics in consciousness. Okay, and just giving you the recap of so here some topics we covered in last couple of weeks. It's starting from human evolution, and how we survive from survival mode to love. And then we discovered a lot of different things, scientific discoveries, cause and effect principles, Newton's law of motion. And then there are so many things we did learn in the topic of consciousness. But nowadays we are learning levels of consciousness. The level of consciousness which I'm referring here is from the book. It is on the right side, The Map of Consciousness Explained by Dr. David R. Hawkins. The David R. Hawkins is our greatest spiritual leader, and he was an American psychiatrist. He was a member of church as well, but he is still influenced in our psychology and spiritual research and development in the current world. Last week we did learn about shame and guilt. What's the significance of these emotions and how we should take them. And now today we will learn about apathy and grief, which is very important for our today's slide. We don't understand really, therefore we remain in grief, we remain in apathy mode because we don't understand it. We understand it on a dictionary level, on a literal meaning, but not in a conscious level. So here our approach is on a conscious and spiritual level. But going through the apathy and grief today, I would like to refer the chart which we are learning from the book, The Map of the Consciousness explained by Dr. Hawkins. So basically, if you see my cursor, let me see here. So our all human consciousness and the quality of life start from the bottom, shame. It starts from here, okay? And then we build our quality of life by journey of these. It look like these are emotions, but these are state of quality of life, okay? The higher level from shame is guilt. Apathy is a higher form or higher level from the guilt. And if we go up, apathy, grief, then fear, then desire, then anger, then pride, and then courage. Here, I will stop here. So when we leverage our quality of life from shame or in a guilty-based life to crossing all one by one until we reach courage. We become courageous person. We become a confident person. Then our transformation start to happen. And that transformation is not overnight. We need to continue to grow and grow to become a neutral person, to willingness to accept the truth around me or within me, and start to give reason. When we reach here on a reason, okay, when we reach here, then we start to read books. Then we start to listen and watch our favorite um, anchors, our favorite life coaches, spiritual coaches, gurus, okay? And we try to understand the world in a meaningful way, okay? And that is a great level of our life here, okay? But when we start and we become so mental intelligent, then our next level is start, and that is we become packet of bundle of love. We are spreading love, we are taking love, we are accepting love, we are giving love, and that my whole uh, life is start to filled by love. And once we are in love, we feel enjoyment, truly enjoyment, and that leads to the highest level, and that we are now peaceful, really, really peaceful, where there is no disease, there is no sadness, there is no depression, no frustration, no anxiety, no hate, no fear, no future problems, no past traumas or tragedy, just a peace on a very, very origin. We basically come here on a origin level, where we started our journey when we born, okay? When the child is born, the child is basically born in a peaceful environment, like the mother belly, the mother womb was his paradise. But when the child come out, then he or she start to cry, because this is entirely different world where he or she is going to live, and now he or she is going to be part of in our planet Earth. His or her soul is actually born when he comes out from the tummy of the mom, and but slowly, gradually, in the beginning, if you can reverse it, all children are in peace, they are in joy, they full of love, and they have a very innocent reasoning as well. But eventually, when they start to grow, unfortunately, their quality of life start to fall down, and then eventually they start to learn uh, how to feel pride, how to become anger, why to become anger. They start to desire to achieve and get a lot of things, and they have fear, grief, apathy, and guilt and shame until they become that person, that child has grown up adult, and now he or she is in shame, and he or she has to live angry life as an anger husband, as an angry wife, as a angry child, a guilt-based employee, violent or tyrant boss, um, and there are many different roles, you know. So we are learning these levels nowadays, okay, and that's I'm uh, going to present you all these things. Today, we are specifically on the level of here when we are in grief or in apathy mode. What does it mean really? And more importantly, how we can avoid it, how we can come out, how we can go to the next level of our life. Okay. So let's go to our today's. So my name is Maratib Alishad. I'm a host. I'm a facilitator. I warmly welcome to Jason, John, and Rak. Uh, and we will be reading a couple of things. But here I'm starting my class today with the bad news. And the bad news is that we all 80 to 90% people, we are living with some sort of negative energy, and that make us insensitive, uh, maybe living with a dead heart, like we do not have emotions or extreme emotions sometimes. We are depressed than before, um, and we are on a very low level of consciousness. Here, if you see here, we are here on a red apathy, okay, where we are hopeless, most of us. We condemn others because we think they are responsible. You are responsible for this life. You. So we set the other people, external people, or external reality are the blameful things for current situation of my life. Okay, and that make me sad. Um, and that we can do. Okay, let me see some couple of um, questions. Hi, Jason. Okay. Yeah, John is saying this is a 17th session, but my first, how can I access the first 16 recording? Okay. John, all recordings are on my YouTube channel. Um, there is a playlist. I make it with the name consciousness, and levels of consciousness, or on my YouTube channel. Okay. If you search on YouTube channel, my full name is Maratib Ali Shad. Okay, and you will get my YouTube channel. You can subscribe it and go to that thing. Okay, and where you can find all 16 previous recording as well. Thank you. So let's go to our, so bad news is this, okay? After this, I will tell you the good news as well, okay? But let's continue. So here is, so we are in apathy. And what does it mean by 50? 50 is a energy level, frequency level, where any person who is living with apathy mode, they are 50. So let me go back to my consciousness map. Here is. So if you see here, these are the energy level, frequency level, start from 20, 30, 50, 75, 100, and it goes to 250, and then 400, then 540, and then 1000. So the Dr. David Hawkins has divided the whole state of conscious level and the quality of life into these levels. So when anybody is depressed, when anybody is in apathy or insensitive mode of the life, his or her state of life is here, 50, which is very low, okay? But it is better than being in a guilt, but it is better than in a shame, okay? But it's still on a third lowest level, okay? So, and we need to start our journey or on be the journey of from 50 to go to at least 200, where we become courageous to transform the life. And once we transform the life, then the other higher qualities of my life and consciousness will increase eventually, slowly, gradually, and permanently. It's very, very important. It's permanent. It's not that you will come back down. Uh, you are coming back. If you are coming back down from, let's say you were on 350 or 400 or 500, it never be possible you will come back, because these are universal and fundamental changes within your soul, within your genetic things, which I will say. And that's why these are so important. Okay. So there is a question by John. John is saying, pertaining to do the previous chart, do you have to go through the each level individually, or can you skip lines? Okay. No, we cannot skip lines, but I will tell you in a good news after at the end of this session, before and 5 or 10 minutes, that if we want to skip it, what are the feasibility? But we have to do one by one, and it comes one by one in our everyday life. It's a very great question, John. And Jason says you do not have to go through every line specifically, although it will give you an insight of the course. I thought that John meant, do you have to experience it all? Yeah, like I said, it's a you, Jason, you picked up very well to John. Um, we do experience journal a common man or common lady. We experience all these one by one if we are on a journey of improving our life forever. But if anybody has, let's say, desire or fear, and then that person experience love for a time being, or or she start to joy, for example, by experience some addiction. Because remember, when we are in addiction, for example, we are smoking, we are addicted to the wine, we are addicted to the sex and lust, we are addicted of gambling or money making. We also experience joy, but that is a very temporary experience. Here I'm talking about permanent and forever experience. Okay. Because that's why addiction is so dangerous for us, because in addiction of anything, we also can experience reason, love, joy as well. But this is a shortcut people try to do, and that's why they still collapse in the life. So, and here is the catch. The catch is we need to go slowly, gradually, and experience all state of consciousness, so that we should not fall back to the lower conscious level. Okay. And that is the purpose of my course, that we need to understand all conscious level in a deeper sense. That's why we choose two conscious level every Sunday we are learning. Okay. Until you will be in a grip of your life, and you know the roadmap where to go, if that's a fair understanding which I can give you. Okay, so let's go back to our quickly what happens in apathy. So it's a quick reading. If you can raise your hand if anybody wants to read, or I can ask Roak, uh, if you can start reading for me.
This level is characterized by poverty, despair, and hopelessness. The world and the future look bleak. Pathos is the theme of life. Apathy is a state of helplessness. Its victims, needy in every way, lack not only resources but also what the energy to avail themselves of what resources may be available.
Excellent. It's a great reading. Thank you, Rak. So basically, at this level, we feel very sad, like he's saying. We feel victim, and we are very hopeless. Okay. we never have any way out of our current state. Usually, when a man is very poor, usually when we have a very disaster situation, most of the time. But don't forget that uh, mostly people on this planet are living in poverty. The poverty means where people do not have uh, knowledge and information where next meal will come from. Okay, so people, billions of people living still in slums, and they are homeless, and they do not, their children do not have meal. So, so their energy level, their state of life is too much low. Okay, and more importantly, they have to live a whole life or most part of their life uh, roofless. um, it happens in every part of the world, in America, in UK, in Europe, um, even beyond the immigration, or immigrants go to the Europe or America or rich countries. Still, the local people also in somehow living. Their percentage is quite small, but they still living in that passive suicide sort of form. Okay, and they do not have money. They they do not, absolutely do not have any clue how it's a way out, and that's they are in apathy. So I would ask Jason if you can read, if you are able to read it, or maybe microphone.
Mhm.
Oh yes.
Yeah, unless external energy is supplied by caregivers, death through passive suicide can result. Without the will to live, the hopeless stare blankly, unresponsive to stimuli until their eyes stop tracking, and there is not even enough energy left to swallow profit food.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's a great reading, Jason. So you see that it's like a passive suicide type of life they're living, and it is very, very painful for observer. Okay, and anything is happening in the world, they don't care. They don't care because they don't know what is happening. They don't know because they don't want to know, because they are living in very dark life. Okay, there is no stimulus can shake them. Come on, wake up, man. They do not have this sense of awakening. Okay, this is the very, very I mean, sad situation of about humanity. And also they have very bad chronic problems as well, apathy people, because they have too much unusual type of diseases, many syndrome which are environmental related, because of the very poor quality of life, and the very negative energies they have. They still they live in very, very vulnerable situations. Okay, and they have chronic diseases, and these diseases can die them, and their life expectancy is very, very low as well. So I would ask John if you are able to read it.
This is the level of homelessness. I'm sorry. This is the level of the homeless and the derelicts of society. It is also the fate of many of the aged and others who become isolated by chronic and progressive diseases. The apathetic are dependent. People in apathy are heavy and are felt to be a burden by those around them.
Excellent. Thank you very much, John. It's a great reading as well. So, when he's saying the apathy people who living, they are heavy. That's very important to know. What does it mean by heavy? It does mean two ways. One, their body weight, because of the poor hygienic condition and the poor quality of food, they can put on the weight on your body. The second meaning is here, they have a dense pain body. When we say the dense pain body, what does it mean by dense pain body? The spiritual level of their whole life is very heavy, okay, and they are in that pain continuously, okay, even they if they are slim or they are weak, that heavy is used in two way, in material or physical or biological way, and the second is mental and spiritual way. They are too heavy. If you talk with those people, you cannot talk with them. They have too much frustration and burden with them. They carry, and they have extremely big story. That's why many journalists, they are able to um, they are not able to highlight the reasons why people live in apathy life, okay, because of the communication problem, because of the psychological burden which they have. And who look after those people in our societies? um, in America, there are very many philanthropists. In UK, there are so many rich people. They are running NGOs. They carry these people in their organization, in their NGOs. For example, one of the example is Mother Teresa. Uh, she was icon in India and all across the world because she was based in Kolkata, and she used to take those people. She used to uh, look after millions of children, poor and old people who living in apathy, and it is a great service which she did. That's why we remember Mother Teresa as the mother of the nation or mother of the poor people. There is another example is Abdul Sattar Edi is Harris, and he was nominated to win the Nobel Prize as well, but he couldn't because he led NGO within Pakistan, which his NGO is feeding millions of people and the children who are homeless and the children who are produced or born in in a rapes. So he used to look after those children who are abandoned by the society, and um, and lot of things they do. So that is the only hope which these people they do. Okay. Now, before I go to the grief, there is a good news. The good news is that we all people who are in apathy, let me take it to here, who are living in an apathy mode here, they can go further, okay? They can go here as well. Sometime, like earlier, John asked that do we have to cross over directly to the higher level of conscious, or we have to go one by one each and then we can go? Now, always remember this path of higher quality of life, higher quality of consciousness is unconsciously living. What does it mean? That when person is in empathy or guilt or a shame or in apathy mode of life or psychological state, if that person has some seeds of being courageous to change the life, here, let me draw it more firmly here. Here, the courageous God. If that person have some seeds to become courageous and understand where that person is living with apathy and guilty and shameful life, then that person goes sometime where directly to higher level as well. But that person depend how much he or she has a great belief on metaphysical things or some spiritual or divinity uh, as well. So they can go, but they are very rare. They are the chosen people, or they, I mean, it depends on the luck as well. But I'm not here discussing about you need to be a lucky. Of course, you need to be a lucky if you are aware that these are the higher and lower level of quality of our life. And you are lucky that you have known this until which I know that, or many people who are the reader of that book or who are following Dr. David Hawkins, that uh, this map of consciousness basically tells them where they are located now and where they should go and work and learn from them how they can go there. And the good news, which I'm talking about here, the good news is we can go from bottom to higher, and with conscious effort, with conscious struggle, which consistently maintaining self-discipline, by focusing, by living in a present life, and come out from the depression, come out from our future anxiety, and that with that focus we can cross this thing easily. Depend on what the conscious level you are going to go there. But some people or majority people, they do not cross over from here. They do one by one. For example, when people in the beginning of their real life, they live the life in guilty. Then after 1 year or 6 months, they are in some sort of depression or grief. Then that depression or grief turn into fear, any uh, fear, unknown fear or non-fear. And that fear, when he or she is able to cope in somehow, that becomes in desire to going into future, because he or she start to crave some good future. But that craving sooner or later give disappointment, give hate from himself or herself or from the other external thing, and that may become that person become angry. But that anger also can convert into some pride. The pride being the community and the label which he or she is belong to. For example, the pride to be American, the pride to be a French speaker, the pride to be become a Muslim, pride to become living in a rich an aristocrat family. So these are the pride which he or she start to realize, but still it's a low state of quality of life until that person uh, enter in this neutral state of, and that is the defining state. When that person start to take initiative in the life, that person start to become courageous and his energy level is 200. He start to make goals and build a mission, and that is through feasibility. Everybody has its own um, state of what we call it life, and people around us, resources around that person, and based on these resources he or she tries to feasible to achieve the goals, and that is the courageous step start to take. And then that person goes to the higher state of conscious level until that person achieve ultimate and universally peaceful, and we admire them. They will have a million follower on the Twitter. They will have a big mass and procession and talks where the thousands of people attend their speeches and talks, and because they people are living a perfect life, okay? They are very blissful people on that time. They could be a business icon, they could be a religious or spiritual leader, they could be a social worker as well. It does not mean that they are affiliated with any religion, okay? Always remember, ultimate joy, ultimate enlightenment, ultimate truth is beyond you to affiliate with any religion or spiritual path. Okay, so if you do not follow any religion, or you and don't need to worry about, always remember there is a divinity for you. The God will be with you beyond any religious thing. Okay, but here I'm not talking about the religion. Here I'm talking about a factual and actual things about your life. Okay, so that is a good news, okay, which I promise that I will tell you. Now let's go quickly about the next level of our session of grief. Okay, I'm very sorry if anybody who lost their parents. I feel very sorry if you've lost or your brother or sister or your children have died, because or I'm very feel sorry if you lost your business, if you lose money or somebody stole your money. Okay, all things will take you in a deep mourning, in a deep regret, in a deep depression, in a deep grief. Okay, and where this grief lie within quality of life. Let's go back to our again conscious level. And here is a conscious level. Grief comes is above than apathy, where we are regretful. Okay, it's a tragedy of the life. Okay, here through the process of tragedy, and our energy level is better than apathy, but still it's low. Okay, but always remember, I give you a good news. The people who are in grief, okay, who are in grief, they can directly go to the higher level very easily, because the how our conscious level is designed by God, that many people who living in a very depression and sad, griefful life, where they lost their parents, where they have lost their uh, wealth, where they lost their health, where they have lost their friend and family, where they lost their children. Okay, they are really living in a sad life. Okay, and that sadness, if you are a positive person, that will take you eventually to the higher level where you start to become love. If you see around in America, if you see around in UK, if you see around in India, if you see around in Australia, many people who are celebrity in your nation, if you find out their earlier history of their life, it was very must be miserable. They must have lost someone, and they must be depressed in state of life. Okay, and that state of life is very what is called that state of life is so uh, encouraging them that they did not see the back, and they move forward and upward, and until they reach on start to on a high level. Do you agree with me? Many celebrities and heroes of our nation, they have grief in their life. They used to be in living in some sort of depression. Is enough. If you are agree, then you say just anybody type yes word. There's a chat box, you can write the yes. Okay, so okay, so there is energy level what we are talking about in a grief. Okay, So this is the level where, okay, let me start. I think some people have joined us. Uh, okay, let me see. Hello, Shafak, Shafak Sheikh. Thank you for joining us. Um, Oshna Wilson. Hello, Oshna Wilson. Thank you. Matthew was joining us. Okay, he just disappeared. Maybe he will come back. And thank you. So let's continue. So energy level is grief. Okay, this is a level when we are sad, when we lost someone. Okay, or we lost money, we lost opportunity to become something. Most people experience it for a periods of time, but those who remain at this level live a life of constant regret and depression. And that is something which I used to do as well. But a long time ago, I come out from this level. And yeah, I lost my dad. I really missed him. I went actually in denial. I had a lot of things which made me long-term depression, and that but that transformed my life, and now I'm on a very high state of conscious level. It could be you as well, that you could go straight away from grief to the higher level. This is a level where we have remorse. Okay, we lost some opportunity. Okay, it's like and many gamblers they also lost gambling play many times, but they keep doing it. But they are in depression because they lost a lot of times, but they never quit gambling. They keep losing until they lose jobs, they lose friends, their wife or their spouse leave them because of their very lost nature of the things. Okay, they're stuck in a past. Okay, and they are really in a grief. Okay, grief, in a grief state of mind, people mostly are in depression, and that depression has a root cause somewhere in past. Their past life is very dodgy, very unclear, very ambiguous. Even if they try to locate where the problem starts, they cannot try until they consult with a psychiatrist or psychologist or a good life coach. They will not find out where actually the problems start to happen. So this is the very miserable thing which they will have. And that is something which we need to accept, that we were living in grief life if we want to come out. Okay, so let's start to read it. I would ask Rak, if you start to reading. Rak, if you are listening me, you can start reading, please. Okay, maybe her microphone is not right. John, you can read it.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. This is the level of chronic mourning, bereavement, and remorse about the past. It is also the level of habitual losers and those chronic gamblers who accept failure as a part of their lifestyle, often resulting in loss of jobs, friends, family, and opportunity, as well as money and health.
Thank you. It's a great reading. Now, I want to point out a highlight here, the opportunity. Many people, or some people, especially in this life, they also are habitual to lose opportunity. And that opportunity, if they missed, they never shall forget. Okay, they keep remember. Okay, and they mourning their, they messing their relationship by reminding that why he or she lost that opportunity, why, how stupid or silly he or she was, or blah, 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 and they never come out. This is also part of our um, grief, okay? Many people, myself as well, I'm very sensitive about children. And many people who are in grief, okay, they become very emotional, they become very sad when they see some matter related with children, okay? And that sorrow never they can get rid of, okay? And it is, I mean, the major losses in the early life make one later vulnerable to passive acceptance of grief as though sorrow were the price of the life. We all living sorrow of life, especially when we see children. And when we see children, what does it mean? The children can be abused. And when we see the children are abused sexually, when children are abused physically, because many guardian or parents can hit children regularly. Many children, they do not have a voice to or communication to tell about how he or she is suffering because of poor health, because of they are too poor to get the food. They do not have food. They are in malnutrition. They have a very low and poor diet given by their parents or carer and their society. So that all happens, and that is also part of grief. So if you need to know that the grief is your state of level is a grief at the grief, then look at the children, how you are feeling. It should not stay longer. If you are longer and you feel the tragedy and um, you start to feel tragedy for longer period of time, many weeks, then it means that you are in grief, okay? Because you are living a very poor quality of life, okay? We need to understand it, but we have to go to the next level of quality of life. That is more important. And it is more important when we start to become sad. Our grief never stay limited until when we think about the atomic bomb, okay? We know that there are thousands of atomic bombs in the world, mostly are they are kept by Russia and America, and in connection with Britain, in also France, Germany, China, India, Pakistan, Israel. Um, so they are, it's a sadness, okay? It is when we are in grief, we think these things a lot, and that make, because it directly linked with our existential crisis. We like the whole planet Earth is blowing out. Where is my goals? Where is the nation's goals? Where we are going? So this is the thing which make us really regretful. Um, we sometimes do not like rich people, rich nations. They we often blame that rich, especially the rich people, are the responsible for the poverty in the world, and we blame them. Okay, to make us sad, whether it's true or wrong. I'm not here to decide, but it is a fact that we blame rich people, rich nations for that. Poverty is everywhere. Most of the country, uh, African countries were very popular for their un, unprivileged situation for their children and adults. But now this is piling up. Many Eastern European countries are in poverty. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, they are increasing the rates of poverty there. The people are becoming more poor than before as well. But they are becoming rich as well, but poor people are becoming more poor. So and also there are a lot of conflict and between the religion. Uh, Christian kill Jews, Jews kills other, Muslim kills Christian, Muslim kills Jews. So we all are, fighting with each other. That takes us to some sort of superiority or is inferiority, and we become victim of terrorism, or we start to terrorism for any agenda. Okay, and that also make us when somebody treat me as a victim of racism, or I start to racist against other people. So there are so many things we that all make us sad. But this is the sign of grief. We are living in a very poor and low level. Now the good news. Okay, I'm going to tell you a good news, which is the last portion of my topic. Good news is, yeah, John, you want to talk? Okay, maybe John mic is not mute. Okay, no problem. So the good news is, if anybody is in grief or apathy, especially the grief, the best thing you need to do if you want to come out. Of course, you can do a lot of things, but one thing naturally, if it is happening, that if you start to cry, if you start to cry with tears, okay, that is the first organic step, natural step to come out from grief. Until you are not crying, you are not coming out from grief. And that grief will stay for longer. That's, I'm talking about biologically. I'm talking about psychologically. You need to cry the situation, and let's go to the high level of your life, higher quality of consciousness. Okay. So sometimes the cry is better. Okay. Sometimes is cry take you out of traumatic situations. Okay. And that is a good news for you. So I would ask someone if you can start reading. These are 3 lines. Anybody can read it.
At this level, such emotional losses may trigger a serious depression or death. Although grief is the cemetery of life, it still has more energy to it than apathy does. Thus, when a traumatized apathetic patient begins to cry, we know they are getting better. Once they start to cry, they will begin to eat again.
Excellent. Very good. Very great reading. Thank you, Arak. So that is the thing. Yeah, John has a good question. He's saying, how do you induce crying? Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult to cry, or if you are not crying. If you are not crying, there could be 2, 3 reasons. One, you are in apathy mode, because in apathy you become sometimes not in emotional. You become static. You become, you think that you can't do anything. Okay, in a very advanced level, and but if you are genuine in grief, that will lead you to cry. Okay, that's why if your loved one, your dad, your mom, your children, your brother, sister, or any dear relationship, if they die, you should cry. Okay, and that cry will make you come out from this situation. That's the very first thing. Okay, I'm not saying that it all, again, it's depend on person to person. Okay, but this is a very good thing, and you can induce as well yourself. You can feel importance of that person, importance of losing that business, importance of losing that opportunity, and it's a sign of your being in a living life, okay? It is a sign of genuinity within you living, okay? And that is thing. John is saying, often feel like I want and need to, but I never come out. Yeah, it happens to me as well many times. I remember when I was depressed, there are so many things was happening with me. Like I think 10 years ago, I was I wanted to cry, but I was not crying. And I said, why I'm not crying? Okay. But eventually I do cry. I did cry, and that made me so healthy and lighter as well. And then it also moved towards my higher level of lives as well. One of the traumatic things you can do, if you meet some great friend, if you meet your spiritual or religious or some master of your thing, and express your sentiment to that person, and eventually you will start to cry. Okay, when you share with the depth, you will start to cry. Okay, that is thing. um Shafak Sheikh is saying crying is a natural and embedded in human nature. Yeah, I agree, Shafak Sheikh. Crying is a natural thing, yeah. But nobody cry in difficult situation. Number two, one is because of my ego. My ego does not allow me to cry. I will start to think, how I can cry. I'm a man. I'm a stronger person. I cannot cry no matter what happens. The second thing, my grief is too big. My regret is too big. I have a huge burden of disappointments. That does not also help me to cry, because I think a cry is a small thing. I think on that level, the cry is too small to compensate the loss which I have. Okay, that's why is the thing. Okay, Rak has a comment as well. She's saying, yeah, sometimes denial or feeling confused about a situation can prevent being able to cry properly about situation, making sad. Oh yeah, absolutely. Uh, Denial basically is a state of mind when something happening outside of you, um, and you are denying from that because you don't want to accept it. Okay. um, and of course um, and the feeling confuses is a different, because the confusion is your inside phenomena in your mind, where you are confused between two, three, four way of doing thing, and you don't know which thing you need to follow. Either you want to cry, or you need to stay stronger, or you need to go to the high level, or you need to use some addictive substance. Like, rather than you cry, let's take a cup of a drink of wine. Rather than to grieve, I will um, have a sleep with someone.
It's
That
14
makes me
hours.
relief. Rather than if I want to, I don't want to cry because I have other option. I can use drug. I can use cocaine. I can use heroin. These are all addictive substances. Okay, these all substances also give you a temporary alternative to come out from the grief without crying. But remember, many. I was reading a report one day that many women uh, who come in sexual profession, we call it uh, the pornographical actresses. Mostly they have come in this profession because of the traumas and tragedy of their life, and they wanted to come out, and they couldn't express the deep grief from their life. That's why they started this thing as an addiction as well. So many cultures and many people, they have a different behavior when they are not able to exit from the grief and the state of depression safely. This is also blessing that how we do approach. For example, I remember when I used to be a little bit sad or frustrated or in grief, I start to read the book. If you see on my back, there are these are my books shelf, and there are many books on the other shelf as well, which you are not able to see. I start to read, and I start to read the topic which is relevant on that situation, and I start to read from the different good authors. Okay, why this is happening? Okay, this is happening because of A, B, C, D reason, and I start to relate that situation with it, and then I start to contemplate, and and then I was able to and figure out why I am in that situation, and it helped me to come out to and move towards a higher level of consciousness. Okay. In the last thought before we go, I appreciate your presence that if we want to change our life, okay, I want to ask you a question, everyone. Jason, John, Oshna, Oshna Wilson, Rak, Shafak Sheikh. I'll ask you a question. For example, if you have some disease and the doctor asks you to see the things which are red, more you will see red things, more you become and recover or heal sooner. So what you will do? You start to paint everything in your room and how with the red color, right? Like, for example, if you have a computer, if you have a table, you start to color red because the doctor said that you need to see everything red. That then you will heal. Is that correct? Do you agree with what you are doing? Or you can do something else as well? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shafak. Yeah, I don't need to paint every person or every object or everything in my life as a red. Just I need to change the glasses. I need to wear the red glasses, and then I will see the entire world as a red. What does it mean? It's a very deep message here. The message is if we work on the paradigm of our mind, how my mind think or labels the different situation. If I will able to help to change my paradigm, the lens, if I am able to change the lens through which I see the world, I perceive the world. If I'm able to change it, then everything will change. So that is called the transformation. Okay. So that level we need to follow if we become courageous and go to the next state of level. So if I will come back to my here on a let me take the nice one, which is here is a clean one. So if you see here, okay, if we are able to change our paradigm, okay, the paradigm start to change when you are here. You have a willingness, you have optimism in the life, and you are now hopeful to change your situation. Your energy level is 310, okay? And this is a level where you start to change your lens of your mind, the lens through which you see the world, okay? And then and when you will be stay here for longer time, then, and you will see back when you were shameful, when you were living a guilt-based life, when you were frightened, when you living a desireful, angerful life, you will laugh on your previous state, and you will feel a very blessed feeling that now you are very blessed. Thanks God, I have come out from these things. Okay, now I have a much control on my life. Okay, because I have transformed myself, and I'm a journey of transformation. For example, if you were overweight and you were eating a lot, you were too lazy, you do not go out, you do not do, used to not exercise and stuff like that, and you overweight by 200 kg, for example. And imagine when you start to change your body and you start to getting slim, and you start to eat less and eat wise. Okay, when this will happen, when you basically think to change in an overall lifestyle, when you start to work on your paradigm, on that level you will start to change your life, and that will start your whole lifestyle. You are not changing your lifestyle for only sake of weight loss. You are changing the lifestyle for entire life, so that you never put on weight again, you never become lazy again, you never feel dumb and lazy and lethargic all the time. And that is the change of paradigm. So here we are going to change paradigm. Okay. So that is a good news. And okay, we have one final comment from Jason. Okay, Jason is saying, it is saying you don't have to change everything. You can alter the mindset to see the world as so. Oh yes, exactly. Jason is saying, in your example, Red, Coach Marathi, one thing I would like to ask you, I understand that there is all these different levels, and as we climb our way to succeed, to success, and get to the higher levels of positivity, this does not mean that we will permanently get rid of the negative levels, correct? It means we will have to power to live in positive mindset. Okay, Jason, I understand you what you mean. Okay, uh, I'm giving you here a good news. The good news is, let me take it here back. It's the end of our last minute of our today's lesson. Let me see you here. Okay. Which I have understood from your message, that if we are climbing to the higher quality of consciousness or higher quality of life, you saying that this does not mean that we will permanently get rid of negative levels, correct? Okay, that is a great question. I must congratulate you, because you are now understanding the depth of this topic and importance of this subject. And my answer of your question is, when you are on higher level, for example, you are lying here on a neutrality, willingness, or acceptance, which you have forgiven any bad past, you are hopeful, you are trustful, and you are satisfied with your life, and you are on the goal to go up. Okay. 99%, in my opinion, you never went back to the low level, number one, because these changes are permanent and universal. Okay, number one. But we still have a memory with my mind that when I used to fearful, when I used to live regretful life, when I used to crave about my future, when I used to hate certain things, when I was very demanding, when I was disappointing, when I was used to be very proudful about certain things, when I used to be angry, I still remember those things. But these things will not control me. These are just like um, for example, the lessons of life, and these are things which make you um, feel more blessed, because you will compare your current state of level, current state of consciousness to the previous lower state of consciousness. And that comparison give you a very blissful and blissful feeling. But this will, the good news is this is permanent, okay? But if you will go to the higher level by using addictive substances such as wine, sex, lust, drink, cocaine, drug related things, okay? Too much video games, too much money making, these are all addiction. But if you want to go to the higher level with addiction, okay, you will go eventually back. Always remember, very badly back. Even you can die easily as well in couple of years time as well. But difference is, if you are here without any addiction, okay, then you are successful really truly foreverly. Okay, and I hope I have answered your question. You say you won't be go back down, however we will experience potential aspect to those lower levels, correct? I know, not at all. I'm very confident. Unless if you are using addictive substances, I'm again saying, and you experience this higher level temporarily, you will eventually go down very badly. But if you are not using addiction and you going gradually up, 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 you never will come back, okay? Because these are permanent change, okay? You said, I understand, thank you. How do we not allow lower levels of state consciousness take over us if we are in stressful situation? That's again great question. For example, you are in acceptance mode or you are in willingness mode. When you are here, then the stressful situation will were once upon a time in your past, okay? Now, these stressful situations are no longer with you as a stress. These are stressful situations you will see as an opportunity. You will see them as a ladder to go further, okay? Now, because of paradigms you have changed now, or it has been changed naturally, you will never ever be able to see them as a problem, or because you categorically see the everything as a red, okay? Now the life is totally changed. For example, in many people who are in a great level of their conscious level and quality life, if anything bad happens, but that bad is for me, not for them. They are seeing this bad happening in a different perspective, okay? As so that's why I don't see that these things will be have a stressful situation, okay? Yes, but when it comes to the mind, there can be a chemical imbalance, and therefore one can drop down to the low level without addictive substances. Okay, that's again another comment. Excellent. No, my friend Jason, because when we are on a higher level of quality of level, we are not living with our chemical changes or emotional. So emotions are not controlling us anymore. Our chemical within our body are not controlling anymore us. We are controlling by my own choice and my own will. which is directly linked with my spiritual intelligence, which is directly linked with my soul. But remember, the soul and spiritual intelligence is independent of my biological need, is independent of my mental intelligence or mind. So this is a different paradigm which I'm start to living. Okay, I'm not driven by chemical or atomic changes within my body. Okay, now my body was is just a miracle. Okay, but always remember that the chemical changes within my body is a biological fact. Okay, but when we living in a higher conscious level, you almost cure every disease. Okay, because you have on that time wonderful power, your self-control, and your body start to obey, your chemicals start to balance automatically, and you even come out from many fatal diseases, many cancer survival, many syndrome survival, many psychological problem related survival people. They only survive for longer and healthier life when they're living and they decided to live the higher quality or higher conscious life. Then their body do not interfere in their journey of the consciousness. So I hope that is a question. So remember, we are not product of chemical reaction within my body. I am not product of the thoughts which is happening within my mind. I am not product of my physical changes within my body. I am not product of my what we call it, my heart or emotions which are producing within my body. I am product of my spiritual intelligence. I'm now beyond from any biological need which I have. Okay, and that is a great miracle which we are learning here. So this is basically a journey of miracles which I have experienced, which millions of people have experienced without any addictive substances, and you could be one of those. Thank you very much, Rak. Thank you very much, Shafak. Yeah, it's been pleasure to be with you. And next week, we will continue to read our next levels of consciousness. Okay, the next levels of consciousness is fear and desire. Okay, anger, pride, courage. So we will keep continue to read them until we start to be on a journey of consciousness, the journey of miracle. Okay, thank you so much for your valuable time, and don't forget to join my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, you just type on the YouTube Maratib Ali Shad, and you will get the YouTube channel. And I will see you next Sunday, same time and same days next Sunday. Thank you very much, Jason and John. Okay, pleasure to be with you in the class. See you next time. Goodbye.